We sell emotion.
Oh. What do you need me for?
We need a token white guy. It's a niche market, and I need someone to fill the role.
Just token white guy. I'm just an actor. I don't know how to help people.
But you know how to perform. Have you seen the resume? Look, what I'm offering here is a chance to play roles with a real meaning.
I wanted something to be, sort of a quarterback sneak, something out of the ordinary, with a title like Rental Family. I said, what is that? At first blush, you might think it's a studio-generated comedy from the 1990s or a sitcom or something like that. But no, it's a rental family is something which is a business model in Tokyo, has been for the last, 40 years or so. There's some 300 agencies that operate today. Probably more now that the film's come around. Which cater to clients who have a paucity of connection. And they hire people, actors, performers, individuals who may just, look the part of a wizened grandpa, for instance. Just sit with them for 1 or 2 hours a day or however long and have a simple activity. Go bowling, see a movie, have a meal, because there's an epidemic of loneliness in Tokyo, but by the same token, I think the whole entire world too. And you'd be surprised considering how busy a place Tokyo is. It's a beehive of activity. You don't need me to tell you that, but goodness, it's possible to have solitude there to an extent where it's detrimental. People have, been living their lives in a virtual way, flipping through pieces of glass in the palm of their hand for, a new generation. And it's put a dent in the way that we connect with one another. And it's valuable to people who feel lonely because of the need to have that connection, to be told that you matter, to be told that I see you when you look someone in the eyes. And it does seem like it's a bit of a lark, or you can insert your, what's the word? Dumb joke here about whatever the title means to you too. Pejorative, I guess that's the word. But it works somehow to fill the void that we find ourselves in this very modern world, when we've lost connection with one another. And how do we unite one another from all this division we live with now in a way that's meaningful, that's not mawkish, that's not sentimental, that has actual value to it? That's easy to say. I mean, here I am essentially pitching this movie, which has been made, when the reality of it is that there's make-believe, which is what the providers of a rental family agency give to the clients. And there's the reality of the clients, and we wonder at what inhabits the in-between space. And that's where the film lives, with all of its ethical and moral dilemmas and sharp edges, not necessarily all filed away to be smoother, but presented to us when we wonder what happens when the surrogacy, the make-believe, the pretend actually gets real, when they actually do catch feelings for one another, whether they meant to or not. So if you're able to rent a wizened grandpa in the world of this film, a single mother with a daughter who she wants to be accepted into a prestigious school has need of her daughter to believe that her father is now back in her life so she can keep up appearances for the entrance interview. It will help improve this girl's quality of life, albeit you are telling a lie to a child in this instance. And we need to examine the ramifications of that. And we find out what happens when you do see this kid played by a newcomer, Shannon Gorman, and this kid's amazing, just fantastic. We had to stop rehearsing with her because she was so good that we didn't want to play our game in a locker room, you know. Just point the camera at her, she's great. He's an expat American living in Tokyo. He's been there for about 7 or 8 years. He hit pay dirt when he arrived, when he landed the gig as a mascot for a toothpaste company in a commercial as Mr. Clearo Brighto. And he got internet famous for that. And he can still walk the streets unrecognized, but when he is, he's pigeonholed for that and that alone. Yes, he does acting. I don't know if he is an actor or necessarily a good one. He's a quite wooden one, if you ask me, and no joke intended. He does play a tree at one point. It's just something that he was doing. Like a lot of expats that I met in Tokyo, they do take, you know, jobs tailored specifically to the token white guy, for instance. And it's a niche market, but one that pays. He's not down on his luck, but he is certainly lonely himself. And whether he acknowledges that or not, on the outside, he does become aware of it when he feels less lonely because he has this newfound family that he is surprised is so meaningful to him, and he forgets himself, he forgets his job, that this is really just, again, make-believe. It helped a lot to meet Hikari, our director and writer, who is her namesake. Hikari means light, spark, energy. She is that. She's someone who just rubs off on you with fairy dust in the best way possible for how enthusiastic and positive she is, but at the same time, always keen to be authentic about the circumstances of her own family life. She was, her father was remiss in her life and absent. Her mother, Hikari's mother, did substitute other men and tell her that this is your father, when in reality that wasn't true. As she would say, and I'm not telling you tales out of school, she borrows these real circumstances in her work to apply them, to give them a sense of truth. So working with her and seeing how she could navigate the busy streets of Tokyo was exciting. It was a thrill. It was, you know, it was location. It wasn't vacation, but it was work. But hey, dream job. What can I say? To be in Tokyo for 4 months or so, and by the time I left, I felt like the Victrola dog. I could kind of understand what people were saying in Japanese. I didn't know exactly what it meant, but I knew what it meant, but I didn't. But I recognized it about the structure of basic conversations or what would be said in any particular instance, from "Hey taxi" to "You dropped a bowling ball on my foot, ouch." You know, I understood what it meant. I did study with a tutor. I'm a very good student, because I forgot most of everything by the time I got there. However, I had excellent tutors, and I realized that Once you speak a language and you think the meanings and the thoughts behind the words, it becomes a lot easier rather than just trying to do it by rote. And luckily I have a talent for mimicry, so that's important in that language given the intonations, and you don't want to hit the wrong syllable or you might mean something completely different from what you intended to. I'm going to confess I didn't have a character per se, which on the one hand makes me a very lazy actor, but also on the other hand is liberating because I had enough on board to help me feel like a fish out of water, like stranger in a strange land, which he is, to see me through all of that scene work. But I guess I just did my best to invest in this much in the same way that Hikari did by culling from her own life. I just applied myself in those circumstances too. I do personally know what it means to go along to get along. I'm the son of a foreign tourism official. Government Canada had us traveling every 3-4 years somewhere new growing up, some parts of the Midwest, Canada. In the 1970s, I lived in Europe. Late 70s to the Northwest in Seattle, boarding school in Toronto, Canada. And then onwards to life in college and came to Hollywood 35 years ago. So I know what it means to feel like the new guy. I know what it means to need to reinvent yourself, need to, if you can, find a way to be comfortable in your own skin, to be the new guy. A lot of actors I've talked to have had similar trajectories in their, on their journey of life, by moving lots of places, seeing different people, feeling feelings of, who am I, where am I from? I guess it's all in the chemical soup of what it takes to make an actor an actor. That's when you have to just take the rules of what the script says. The emotional truth in that, thankfully, was captured because this kid, Shannon Gorman, who was one of those stories, she came in near the end of casting. Hikari had looked Japan, United States, Canada. She had sent people to England. She went through many, many audition tapes. Her requirement was this is a Japanese girl, Caucasian. So she's has a dichotomy on board anyway. And Shannon was 9 years old. She's 11 now. We had our premiere last night. I was like, stop growing up. Her dad is Irish. Her mom is Japanese. She did describe what it, in her own kid way, and I'm going to be careful here, but she had been marginalized by people because they perceived her to be not Japanese enough or not white enough. So she fell in that who am I sort of way. And to her, yeah, that's really it's mean, but it's also abusive. And she would hear conversations about her from adults who assumed that incorrectly that she did not speak Japanese. Well, she's Japanese, she was born there. So she had all this emotional bandwidth to begin with. And that had to, whether she knew it or not, I don't think she did, but she was a kid. She never acted before, which is perfect. Because we didn't want her to play her game in the locker room. We stopped rehearsing, just point the camera at her. And that's what you got. So that emotional truth really helped me stay as close to being authentic as I could. Working with Akira Imoto, our now 77-year-old, just had a birthday. Kikuo character, the actor who's been forgotten and is in a race for time before his memory fades to find and reckon with his past, who hires Philip as a reporter to write his book. I'm going to challenge you on saying that he's lying to the old man, because I think the old guy was onto him from the jump. And Akira Imoto has his own theater, and he lives on the floor above it, a black box in Tokyo. He performs every morning at 8 a.m., no matter what, whether it's a monologue, some scene work. Sometimes he just reads from manuscripts of, in this case, when I went, a shogun's, basically, 15th century shopping list of things that they had grown and stuff that they needed, something really pedestrian and boring, but written in heightened Japanese text that, it'd be like you and I reading iambic pentameter written to go to Costco or something, and he performs it because he's such a devotee of the craft. And he really, speaking of it, he really is like the Japanese Ian McKellen. He is a living treasure there. So, the kids call it meta, but yeah, it's the real McCoy. I liked working with Mari Yamamoto. She is such first of all, gosh, can you just be pretty or something? There's not a bad angle on the woman. Still waters run deep with her. She's poised, elegant, do not cross her, but intensely vulnerable at the same time. I think I could watch her ride up and down an escalator in a blonde short wig all afternoon if I had to. Really can't take your eyes off of her. Takahiro Hira is, you've recently seen in Shogun. Great guy. And he plays Tada, the owner of the rental family agency. He really does embody the conflicted businessman who we learn has a secret of his own family issues. Sure. And that inspires the reason why he has this rental family agency. It was the interview scene was actually me speaking in Japanese, but for scheduling and exigency, they didn't want to hear me do that monologue that he gives was in Japanese, but forces that be said, no, you got to do it in English. And maybe it was because my Japanese wasn't so letter perfect, but just for clarity's sake for an audience. So I did have a you're on kind of anxiety about doing that, which worked for me because it's an anxious situation to be in anyhow. But I guess that's not fair because the hard part wasn't me speaking in English. But I did feel the circumstances of having those expectations placed on me. It became a surrogate family. And I say that with sincerity. And acting, filmmaking, doing a play, all of that is sort of a kooky circus that comes together, creates some semblance of a reality for a short while, and then disbands. The difference between a film and a play is that, well, you have something to show for it that lasts presumably forever, and a play is an ephemeral thing. It lives on its own, separate but different, but the feeling of connection. When you get all the chemical components right, is what you strive for to get closer to the trust you need and the authenticity that goes into storytelling, effective storytelling. I do my best to get along with everyone, and Hikari is pretty easy to get along with. I'm the fourth of four sons, so she's the sister that I never had and that I wanted. So that early realization and understanding went far. I'm glad she chose me for this. I honestly didn't think I would have been her first choice, to tell you the truth, but for whichever requirements she had, I'll let her answer to that. I was the lucky guy who got the part. Audiences are taking something different away from this film every time. Something unique, something good. It's staying with them for several days. It's moving. You don't have a heart of stone if you don't shed a tear when you watch this film, but you will be taken by surprise by the revelations that come. And there's some very good ones in this movie. There are some setups that pay off in the most unique way that give me personally a thrill that I used to get when back in the day, you would see a new CGI technology, be like, that's so cool, wow. How do you do that? Hikari directed this story and movie so that gee whizzikers, that is awesome feeling, comes just from people talking to each other and the story itself, because you feel yourself so invested along with these people. When it takes its twists and turns and reveals what's really underneath the surface, it's a payoff that you get. I don't know, I haven't felt that way in a long time. I take away that family is who we make it to be, who we find it to be. I take away that it's not necessary to have a villain in a film, per se. In a world so divided, when we deal with so much apathy, that would be the villain in this film, I would say. I take away that this movie is a love letter to loneliness. It's addressed to Tokyo. It's written in cherry blossom pink ink, sealed with a kiss, all of that good stuff. I can't say it enough. I take away that you can still continue to evolve as a person, even if you find yourself down on your luck in some faraway, remote world of your own division or the physical one itself. If you do something about it and you ask for help. And personally, I didn't know you could ask for help for many years until it was pointed out to me, and I did. A film like this, I think, is going to help people feel, it's going to help people feel a sense of belonging, the belonging we all crave that comes from being made to stand in front of a piece of glass on the outside, looking in with your nose pressed against it, you know, wanting to be a part of that. It inspires you to feel more inclusive of one another and more tolerant. And I take away that whatever your voyage is on your journey of discovery, start by looking within first. That's likely where you'll find the best answers. A point that's made in this movie. I won't tell you when, though. Come see Rental Family. If you can't get into Wicked on November 21, I'm your guy. If your family is driving you bonkers at Thanksgiving, come with me to Japan for a couple of hours. It'll do a body good.